The five are actually um, uh, common between the two hadith. So Sahih Muslim has an additional one to write over the one in Sahih al-Bukhari. So we're gonna go with the version in Sahih Muslim, and we're gonna say that the rights of a Muslim upon a Muslim are not limited to those six. Those are just examples that he ﷺ has mentioned, and we will see others that were mentioned in another hadith that talk about the rights of a believer upon a believer. So what does the hadith say in Sahih Muslim? حق المسلم على المسلم ست. That the right for a Muslim upon another Muslim are six. He said, إذا لقيته فسلم عليه. When you see him, you should say salam to him. And that applies, of course, to the woman as well. But usually in the Arabic language, we use the masculine gender and we mean both genders, right? So if you hear me talking about it in a masculine gender, it's just because the Arabic version, the original text, was said in masculine gender. So إذا لقيته فسلم عليه. When you see him, you say salam alaykum for him. إذا لقيته فسلم عليه وإذا دعاك فأجبه. And when that Muslim invites you, then you should answer the invitation and you should respond to him. If you can, you should go for it. وإذا استنصحك فانصح له. And if that person is seeking an advice from you, then you should be sincerely advising them to the best of your ability, to what you know and to what you understand. وَإِذَا عَطَسَ فَحَمِدَ اللَّهَ فَشَمِّتْهُ. And if that person sneezes and says Alhamdulillah, then you should say يرحمك الله. وَإِذَا مَرِضَ فَعُدْهُ. And if the person becomes sick, then you should visit him. وَإِذَا مَاتَ فَاتْبَعْهُ. And when the person passes away, then follow their funeral. Did we say six? Yeah. So إِذَا لَقِيتَهُ فَسَلِّمْ عَلَيْهِ. إِذَا دَعَاكَ فَأَجِبْهُ. إِذَا اسْتَنصَحَكَ فَانصَحْ لَهُ. إِذَا عَطَسَ فَحَمِدَ اللَّهَ فَشَمِّتْهُ. إِذَا مَرِضَ فَاتْبَعْهُ. إِذَا مَرِضَ فَعُدْهُ. وَإِذَا مَاتَ فَاتْبَعْهُ. So six. So I would love to go through each one in some details, inshallah. And I hope that we can address it from both the social aspect and from the fiqh aspect as well. So Rasul ﷺ is telling us about some rights that the Muslim has upon the other Muslims. And those rights in particular that are mentioned in this hadith, although they are not the exclusive rights, they are actually just examples of the rights. They talk about how the Muslim community can become so strong when they apply those rights together with each other. And the virtue of these rights that Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has mentioned is that each one of them would bring people closer to each other until they become stronger family, like as a whole family. So let's say the first one is إِذَا لَقِيتَهُ فَسَلِّمْ عَلَيْهِ. When you meet with him, say Salamu Alaikum. Now, many people say, or think about Assalamu Alaikum is just a way of greeting. And in fact, it is way further than that. It's way beyond just a greeting. And we have to understand the meaning of Assalamu Alaikum so that it really clicks in our mind. So what do you say when you greet someone here in America? Hey, what's up? Or what do you say? Or you say, hi, hello, those kind of words, right? And it's just a word to greet someone. But Assalamu Alaikum is not the Arabic greeting, by the way. Arabic greeting is marhaba, is not assalamu alaikum. If you go to Christian Arabs, they don't say assalamu alaikum. They say marhaba, ahlan. Those kind of words are the greetings between non-Muslim Arabs. So assalamu alaikum is not the greeting of Arabs, it's the greeting of Muslims only. Okay, so what does it really mean, and how is that different from others? Like marhaba means you are welcome, and ahlan means you are like a family. It's a way to greet other people. But assalamu alaikum comes from a name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is as-salam. And salam, as we all know, the direct meaning could be peace upon you, right? The peace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon you. That's what you say when you say to someone assalamu alaikum. You're wishing them peace to go upon them. And in fact, if you think very carefully about it, when you say assalamu alaikum for the very first time that you see a person, it means that, you know what, you see my face, and inshallah you will not get from my face nothing except peace, nothing except goodness. So you are assuring the person that you're not coming, or you will not show that person anything that would harm or hurt. And that is what you say. When you say assalamu alaikum, you should really mean it. It's not just a way of saying hello, because hello, it could be followed by a fight. Assalamu alaikum would never happen like that, because when you say assalamu alaikum, you're declaring, you're assuring the other party that you will say nothing, you will do nothing in front of them except that is peaceful and that is good for them. So when you hear the word assalamu alaikum, you should feel very happy and should feel very comfortable, because now you see that this person, when he says assalamu alaikum, it's a declaration, it's like a promise that while you are looking at me, while you are seeing me, while you are meeting with me, you will get nothing but good, nothing but peace. So and if you make it even further and you say wa rahmatullah wa barakatuhu, it goes, mashallah, all the way to say that may the blessing, may the peace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His peace, His rahmah, His mercy, and His blessings be upon you. And which means actually not only that you show the other party that you are peaceful and that you will do nothing to harm them, but also on top of that, you're showing them how much you care about them, that you wish them the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well as the blessings of Allah. And how much valuable this is when you say assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So people should not take this lightly. And by the way, if you really don't understand what it means, don't say it. Because you're uttering something that is so precious. So precious. And if a person makes it like just a habit, assalamu alaikum, Sam, you know, when someone sends an email, what do they do at the beginning? Have you seen this AAWR? Have you seen this? I've seen it for over 2 years and I did not know what that meant. People would send me a piece of email and it starts with AAW something. And then I did ask someone, I said, is this something common in America? They said, this is an acronym for Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa astaghfirullah. If you're not willing to say it from your heart, don't say it. Just say, hi, hello, that's it. Don't waste the meaning, the precious meaning of Assalamu alaikum by just saying AAW whatever. Because that is actually, you're actually underestimating, you're belittling the dua that Rasulullah ﷺ has taught us to use when we deal with other Muslims. And see, subhanAllah, how far we are from the Islamic etiquette. You know, a better version, a more detailed version is salams. Salams. And astaghfirullah, what is salams? Like, when you say Assalamu alaikum, you get 10 hasana. When you say wa rahmatullah, you get another 10. Wa barakatuh, a third 10. Which means you get 30 hasana by just saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and you mean it. What do you think you get when you say AAW whatever? I'm afraid that you get a sin. Because not only that you don't mean it, but also you are changing the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And that word of salams, what is salams? Nothing. Nothing. It's better for you to say marhaba, to say hello, to say hi, than to say salams. Because that actually is going to be an innovation in the religion. We are changing the religion. So that's where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the right of a Muslim upon a Muslim is that when you see him, you say Assalamu alaikum, sallam alayh. The least is to say Assalamu alaikum, but it's better to say wa rahmatullah, and it's even better when you say wa barakatuh. Allah said وَإِذَا حُيِّيتُم بِتَحِيَّةٍ فَحَيُّوا بِأَحْسَنَ مِنْهَا أَوْ رُدُّوهَا. If you are being greeted with some greeting, then you need to respond with a better one, or at least the same. So when you hear the word Assalamu alaikum, you should at least say wa alaikum assalam. But it's better to even say wa rahmatullah. So what if someone says to you Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh? Is there a better version? Some of the ulama have said that you can say wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu wa maghfiratuhu. This is a statement by some of our scholars, but at least a person should say completely wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And that is actually an etiquette that we have lost over time, and especially when we forgot the meaning that is attached to the greeting in Islam. Now, would we use the same greeting Assalamu alaikum with non-Muslims? Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam was only using it with Muslims because it really means something different that they don't believe in. When the other party believes in As-Salam, in Allah and His mercy and His blessings, then of course you can say it to them. But when they don't believe in it, this has a very religious connotation to it. So what you can do, you can say any great, nice greeting, like for example, hi, how are you, those kind of things, that's fine. You can do that with non-Muslims. But the word Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, it has that religious connotation that it can only be used as He sallallahu used to say. When someone is being greeted by Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah by someone who is non-Muslim, you can respond wa alaikum, that you wish them the same. If you think that they believe in that, you can say wa alaikum assalam. But only if they really truly believe in what it means, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope this is clear. And now from a fiqh perspective, what is the ruling of saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah to a Muslim that you see? Is it mandatory or is it sunnah? The Jumhur, the vast majority of ulama have said to start As-Salam to a Muslim, it is sunnah. But to respond to As-Salam, it's wajib. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, if you were greeted by some greetings, then you should respond with it, with better one, or at least with it. So, As-Salamu sunnah, wa radduhu wajib. When you say Assalamu alaikum, it's sunnah. And to respond to someone who says Assalamu alaikum, it is wajib. It is mandatory. Okay, so إِذَا لَقِيتَهُ فَسَلَّمْ عَلَيْهِ. What's the second one? One can remind me? إِذَا دَعَاكَ فَأَجِبْهُ. Okay, you said Assalamu alaikum, and he tells you wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Brother, I would like to invite you to my house. Then well, don't expect that if you say Assalamu alaikum, you get the invitation all the time. But anyways, if a person asks you to or invites you to come to his home, then you should consider that to the best of your ability. And that's where فَأَجِبْهُ, that you should respond to them and you should answer them and accept that. Now, sometimes you cannot. And if you cannot, then you have your own excuse. So answering this da'wah is actually a sunnah mu'akkada. So if someone invites you to their homes or invites you to go to a restaurant or somewhere else, then accepting and responding to that is sunnah mu'akkada, which means a highly recommended sunnah. Very highly recommended sunnah. Now, of course, we are expecting that this invitation is free from anything haram. Like, let's say, for example, someone invites you to their wedding party. And in that wedding party, they do something haram. They do haram things within that party. Then you cannot answer them. You cannot say, well, I have to respond to their invitation and therefore I'm going. If the invitation involves or engages some haram in it, then you just cannot go. It's not permissible to go to a wedding party or any invitation that has haram in it. And part of the haram is, of course, the un-Islamic mixing between opposite gender without hijab, without modesty. That is haram, of course. You know, dancing and of women in front of men and all that, it's haram. It's not permissible. Or maybe playing those music with songs that have, wal-'iyadhu billah, nasty words or some sexual words is haram. It's not permissible to attend that or to even listen to that. Okay, so إذا لقيته فسلم عليه وإذا دعاك فأجبه. Now, the one question that is very common with this is that if someone invites me to his home, should I respond with another invitation? Is that Islamically required? The answer is no, it's not required. It's perhaps part of what people do in their own culture, which is good, which is nice. I mean, you're responding with another invitation. That's nice, that's fine. But it's not required. And it is permissible for someone to be invited multiple times to the same person and not be able to invite them back. Okay, any questions so far? Yes?
On the first one with salam alaikum, let's just say somebody walks in and they're in the back and they come in and say salam alaikum and I hear it. Am I supposed to?
In the masjid?
Yeah, but he's not really saying it directly to me, but I hear it. What do I do?
Yeah. So if someone says salamu alaikum to the public, it is very recommended that you say wa alaikum salam. However, if that is in a class like this, in a seeking knowledge environment, or while waiting to for the imam to do the prayer, or in a place that should be quiet, then you say it quietly. Yeah, you don't need to say it out loud. And in fact, I mean, to be honest with you, it really bothers, especially if you have like a setting of knowledge seeking, that every time a person comes would say Assalamu alaikum out loud. The person should say it quietly, and wherever he sits or she sits, then the two people next to them would say wa alaikum salam, and that's it. But not out loud to bother. Yes? That is against the sunnah, habibi. Just say hi. Salams is nothing. Yeah. Yes, Habibi. Now, spelling salam alaikum is fine. I mean, if you want to type it in other than Arabic, you mean? Yeah, it's fine. If you have misspelling, that's fine. I mean, people sometimes put ALSA, sometimes they do ASSA. It's fine. Yeah. Okay. So إذا لقيته فسلم عليه وإذا دعاك فأجبه وإذا استنصحك فانصح له. If the person is seeking advice, then sincerely give them advice. Now, I want to ask you a question about the word nasiha. Nasaha. What does nasaha mean in Arabic? MashaAllah, sincerity. It means sincerity, correct. And it's coming from a root word where they say, nasaha al-asalu idha safa. They say when you get a raw honey, when you filter it, that in Arabic called nasaha al-asal, that you filter it from anything that comes with it, so it becomes so pure. That is the word nasaha. And when your statement to the people is so pure, coming from the heart, that's what we call it in Arabic, nasiha. So nasiha does not necessarily mean to advise. It does not necessarily mean to counsel someone. It means that you are so sincere in what you say. That's why Allah subhanahu and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said, when he was asked, to whom should we give nasiha? He said, Lillah. Are you advising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? You cannot. قال لله ولرسوله ولأئمة المسلمين وعامتهم. Which means your nasiha should go to Allah, to His Messenger, and to the Imams of the Muslims, and to their regular Muslims. And what that really means is that you are so sincere in what you say and what you do towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So sincere in what you say and what you do to Prophet Muhammad. Same thing with the leaders of the Muslims, and same with every Muslim. Because the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said in that hadith, ad-dinu an-nasiha, that the most important thing in our religion is the nasiha. It's not to give advice, it's actually to be sincere. To be sincere in what you do, in what you say, in what you believe. قُلْنَا لِمَنْ They asked, to whom ya Rasulullah? He said, لِلَّهِ وَلِرَسُولِهِ وَلِأَئِمَّةِ الْمُسْلِمِينَ وَعَامَّتِهِمْ. To Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, be sincere to Allah, be sincere to Prophet Muhammad, be sincere to the Imams and the leaders of the Muslims, and be sincere to all Muslims. Is that clear? So when you say nasiha, remember, it means sincerity. Sincerity in acts and sincerity in sayings. So وَإِذَا اسْتَنصَحَكَ فَانصَحْ لَهُ. So when someone seeks some advice, some sincere advice, some sincere opinion, then you should be so sincere in what you say. I give you a very common example. Someone says, brother, I have this man who just asked me to start a business with him. Or I have this guy who came to seek my daughter's hand in marriage. What do you think of him? Those kind of things are seeking nasiha, right? The sad news is that most of the time, if you have good connection with that person, then you would say nothing but good things. And if you have bad experience with them, you say nothing but wrong. So for example, if Muhammad and Abdullah are two very close friends, and Muhammad comes to seek your daughter's hand in marriage, so you ask Abdullah, what do you think of Muhammad? So Muhammad is seeking your daughter's hand in marriage, and Abdullah is his friend. So when you go to Abdullah, Abdullah would say, you cannot find a better person. Well, if that is accurate, then great. But if there are things that you are missing there, and the person is not really telling the truth, then that becomes haram. That becomes cheating. You're cheating the one who is asking you for advice. And that's why in Islam, our Rasul said, وَإِذَا اسْتَنصَحَكَ فَانصَحْ لَهُ, which means if he seeks advice, then sincerely provide what you know. And it's not just an advice from the English terminology. It's more of sincere statement of what you truly believe the situation is. Yes. نصوحة. Yes. إذا استنصحك فانصح له. Right. Yes. So the question, Jazallah khair, he's saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Tubu ilallahi tawbatan nasuha. And nasuh here means sincere. Another hadith, Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Ad-dinu nasiha. A third one, إِذَا اسْتَنْصَحَكَ فَانْصَحْ لَهُ. So the question is, can we extra or can we give a further meaning to nasiha in addition to sincerity based on the context? And the answer is yes, absolutely. Yeah, Allah barak fikum ya Rab. Yes, alaykum salam.
If somebody's asking you about someone else, can you stay silent if, say, maybe you've heard something about the person but you don't know, you haven't verified it? Can you just stay silent, or you have to say, no, I heard about this?
Yeah. So the question is, what if you know something but you're not sure, right? So the answer, Habibi, is if there's a critical thing, like for example, someone is asking you about marriage, relationship, or about partnership in business, and you heard some rumors, but you're not sure about them, you need to be clear. You need to say, there were things that I have heard, but I didn't get the chance to verify. So be careful. Just give it some attention. No, you need to say that. Because otherwise, the problem, Habibi, is that, and I'm sorry to be blunt on this, in many situations, Akhi, we're getting so bad experience with people just because others were not sincere when they were giving advice. I give you a very good example. Sometimes a person create a problem in a masjid. Maybe high temper, maybe a person who has personal gain, or maybe the person has hidden agenda and creates a big mess in the masjid. And the people just pressured him to leave. He will go to another masjid and he will seek to have a position, to have a whatever. So unless people can say what the experience was, then he will just do another mess in the other place, right? Similarly, a person who is just going between different families seeking marriage, but in reality he is just jumping from one house to another as if he just wants to see the ladies. Then if we don't give that astaghfirullah, then your daughter might be the next victim, right? My daughter might be the next victim. So we have to be very careful on this. And this is amana. So you should not be quiet just because he is your friend, or because you heard something but you didn't verify it. I give you one example. There was once a person who is always like, oh, my heart is so clean to everyone. I will never ever accuse anyone of anything unless I see it by my own eyes. So he was asked once, what do you think of shaitan? He said, well, I heard about shaitan many things that are bad, but I have never seen him doing anything wrong, so I cannot say anything wrong about him. Well, astaghfirullah, this means that we reach to a level where it becomes very unacceptable, like has no rationale in it, right? Okay, so إذا لقيته فسلم عليه إذا دعاك فأجبه إذا استنصحك فانصح له and then وإذا عطس فحمد الله فشمته. And if the person sneezes and then say Alhamdulillah, then you should say Yarhamkallah. That's another thing that we need to understand, that when you say Alhamdulillah, you know what the American way of Alhamdulillah? Ouch! Right? Is that what they say? Ouch? No. That's the other person. But the one who sneezes, what does he say? Excuse me. Oh, that's a very respectful, polite way of doing it. But most of the time it's ouch. I mean, you hear it at work. People, huh? Ouch! But some of them who are very respectful, they would say, excuse me. Yes, I acknowledge that. And the way that they usually respond is by saying, bless you, right? Now, if you are in a gathering that there are no Muslim, you should say Alhamdulillah for yourself. You can always say, excuse me after that. But Alhamdulillah should be the thing that comes to your mind and to your tongue at the time when you sneeze. And you know why? Because that is something harmful. If it stays and you could not sneeze, it will harm you. So when it goes out, you say Alhamdulillah, you just remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has enabled you to get rid of that. And what could be better than remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all the time, that Allah is always in your mind, that not a blessing, not a good thing that happens to you except that you attribute it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know when you say, see the difference. Someone says Alhamdulillah and then says excuse me, and another one who says only excuse me. Who is this person caring about the most, and who is this person caring about the most? The one who says Alhamdulillah first cares about Allah, their creator. The one who says excuse me, he cares about the people. The people he's just didn't like to bother them by his sneeze, so he would say excuse me. Well, remember Allah first, and then excuse me comes next. Is it permissible to say excuse me? Yeah, it is permissible. Fine. So if the person who sneezes in front of you is a Muslim and says Alhamdulillah, then you should say Yarhamkallah. What if the Muslim does not say Alhamdulillah? Would you say Yarhamkallah? You don't need to, because the hadith says if he says Alhamdulillah, you say Yarhamkallah. But it is still fine to say Yarhamkallah. And actually, it might be a great reminder for the person that you should remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's fine to say Yarhamukallah, but you don't have to. So what if the person in front of you is non-Muslim and he says, excuse me, is it permissible to say bless you? What do you think? Huh? Bless you. Yeah, is it permissible? Yeah. What does bless you mean? You ask some barakah to go on them, right? Blessings, right? What do you think?
Blessing means that, like, when you say bless, it means like God bless you.
Mhm.
Like,
Is it permissible to say God bless you to a non-Muslim? No? Why not? Why not? Why not? You can always pray to Allah for the non-Muslims with blessings. Why not? You can. Of course you can. The problem in making dua to the non-Muslims is about the forgiveness from the sins. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ما كان للنبي والذين آمنوا معه أن يستغفروا للمشركين ولو كانوا أولي قربى من بعد ما تبين لهم أنهم أصحاب الجحيم. Seeking forgiveness for someone who passes away on the state of kufr, that is not permissible, because Allah knows the best about them. But praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for a non-Muslim, for guidance, for blessings, for prosperity. It's always fine. It's fine, of course. You have the good wish to every human. And of course, it's better to say, Yahdikum Allah. May Allah guide you. That's even better. But it is fine to say, bless you. It's fine. Absolutely, there's no harm, inshallah. And I hope that we always have this in our minds, that Islam does not prevent us from wishing all the greatest to the Muslims and non-Muslims alike. The problem is when we deal with people who are expelling us from our homes, fighting us, killing us. Those oppressors are the ones that we have problem with. But otherwise, peaceful non-Muslims, we wish them all the best. Yes, Akhi, go ahead. Excellent. Yeah. So at the beginning, Akhi, barakallah fikum, I mentioned that Assalamu alaikum is a certain prayer that talks about Allah's name. And that only applies to Muslims. That wording, Assalamu alaikum, only because Assalam is the name of Allah. So when you say, may Allah, the peaceful, subhanahu wa ta'ala, be upon you, and the peace from Him be upon you, that wording, As-Salam, because it's the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, only befits Muslims. But if you want to say to a non-Muslim, may peace be upon you, you're fine. You're fine. Because we're not, what Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has prevented us from saying is not wishing others peace. He was talking about the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the specific name. That's why when we say in the ayah I mentioned in Surah At-Tawbah, that we cannot seek istighfar. We cannot seek, like if a non-Muslim passes away, then we say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows about them. And Allah knows what befits them. But there are certain prayers, the Islamic prayers that only befits Muslims. Those are the ones that we avoid. Otherwise, we wish them all the best. Yeah.
So, Sheikh, when we say Assalamu alaikum, the alif and lam makes it the name of Allah.
Correct.
Would it be possible for us to say Salamun alaikum, I come to you in peace, not in a state of war, without the word alif lam, which makes the word salam as the word of Allah?
Yeah, it's fine if you say Salamun alaikum. Yeah. But the problem is when people think that they would continue with saying wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is specific to the Muslims. So wishing them peace is absolutely from our religion. But using that specific phrase is only for Muslims. Yeah. Yes? Yadikum Allah wa aslihu balakum. Actually, Jazakallah khair. Great, because I was actually about to move to the next one and forget about it. So the sunnah is, the person would say, who sneezes would say, Alhamdulillah. The one next to him would say, Yarhamukallah. And then the one who sneezes should say, Yahdikumullah wa yuslihu balakum. This is the sunnah. Many people say, Yahdina wa yahdikumullah. Did you hear this? This is not the sunnah. Don't invent on your own. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam has taught us a specific wording. Use that because that's what you get khair through. So he sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever sneezes should say alhamdulillah. People should tell him yarhamukallah, and then he should respond back by saying yahdikumullahu wa yuslihu balakum. May Allah guide you, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you a peace of mind. You have a question? Yeah.
Yeah, so like there's in
No, we should not say that. We just say bless you. It's enough. Yeah. We don't believe in other than Allah, right? Yeah. Yes, Akhi. So it's easy to respond with any greeting. You should you can say wa alaikum. I mean, some of our scholars have made it more lenient by saying if you know that they are not playing with the word, because in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, some of the Jews used to say assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum means may the poison be on you. Assamu is different from assalamu. So some of the ulama have said that if they say assalamu alaikum and you know for sure that they are wishing that, you can say wa alaikum, or you can say wa alaikum salam. But the problem is not that the word as-salam, which means the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's the one that Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted it to be to the Muslims only. But wishing them peace after that is fine, inshallah. Yes. How much time do we have? So 8:15, right? Okay, great. Is it okay not to accept invitations for iftar during Ramadan if you would like to keep your prayers in the masjid and you would like to break your fast in peace and making dua before you break your fast? Yeah, if the invitation would prevent you from doing something that is more, that is better for you or more beneficial to you, then you can always, Islamically speaking, excuse yourself, because answering the invitation is sunnah mu'akkada, is highly recommended sunnah, and it is not wajib to the vast majority of ulama. The only exception, though, is if it comes from a relative. If it comes from a relative, then there is what we call it silat al-rahim. Like let's say, for example, your blood brother or blood sister or your father or your mother has asked you to come, then there is another reason for you to answer this for silat al-rahim. And I think this we should all understand that this is way more important than catching even Taraweeh prayer. So if you are going to visit someone for the sake of silat al-rahim, then that is very valuable in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Does that mean that you should do that if there's a sin? No, of course. If there's a sin, you should never go there. But if you can still pray Salat al-Isha in their own place, or do your dua, or maybe if this may make you late on Taraweeh, you should be fine, inshallah. Because Silat al-Rahim is way more important than anything else. Okay. Silat al-Rahim, to connect with your kith and kin, to connect with your family, close family members. Yeah. Okay, so question for you, because you asked a very nice question. So what if someone is sick and he sneezes 5 times? Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Would you keep saying Yarhamkallah, 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 Yarhamkallah? What happens if this is the case?
You don't need to say
Kallah. Yeah,
Yeah, you don't need to say that every time. My dad said that you can just say it one time and that will be okay.
So his dad said it's one time and it's enough. Well, your dad was close, but not very accurate. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that if it goes beyond 3, then you just ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to cure them because they are sick. So the limit is 3 times. So Alhamdulillah, Yarhamkallah. Alhamdulillah, Yarhamkallah. Alhamdulillah, you say Yarhamukallah wa afakallah. And that's it. You no more need to say Yarhamkallah every time after that. Okay? Okay, so إذا لقيته فسلم عليه، إذا استنصحك فانصحه، إذا دعاك فأجبه، إذا عطس فحمد الله فشمته، إذا مرض فعده. If the person becomes sick, then you should visit them. Okay, now here we come into some critical or maybe sensitive thing. Well, the sickness could be corona, for example. Would you visit them? If it were COVID-19, would you visit them? We call this disease, what is it? The one that goes between people? Contagious, right. So if the sickness is contagious, you don't need to visit them. Of course, you should not actually visit them. But you can always give a phone call. You can send a message. So that actually compensates for that visit. But contagious disease is not something that would actually allow us to go and visit. And unfortunately, during the COVID-19 era, I found some of our brothers, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive all of us, who were like, this is conspiracy, we will never believe in it, they want to divide us the Muslims, and they were visiting each other. And I have known some people who passed away because of this. Aywallah. Multiple people have passed away because of this. They say it's conspiracy, don't believe in it. Allah is the protector. Of course Allah is the protector, but also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created those things that will cause damage, that will cause disease to people. And the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam has actually prevented us from going to the people who are contagious, who have a contagious disease, and getting close to them. Okay. Yes, 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 yes. In Sham. Yeah, Ta'un Amwas. The plague. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Exactly. 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 Yeah. 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 Yeah.
They never talk about what Umar radiallahu ta'ala did.
Yeah.
That found that happened in Sham.
Yeah.
And they are giving their own,
Yeah.
like, this is the time you should
True.
go through.
True.
I have no idea how they came up with that.
Jazakallah khair. Yeah.
They're greater than Umar radiallahu ta'ala that they had.
Yeah, it's just lack of knowledge. In subhanAllah, this quarantine that we are talking about, that Umar radiallahu anhu has happened during his time when plague was spread in Damascus and in that area, Sham area. And Umar radiallahu anhu has asked the Sahaba, anyone knows about it? And Abu Ubaidah told them that I heard Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying that if you find it in a place, don't go there. And if it happens in your place, don't leave that place. So, yeah, yes, Habibi, go ahead. Yeah. So the question is, what if there are people who are close to you, like relatives, and you want to invite, you have an invitation for, say, wedding. What if you want to avoid inviting them because they may cause you trouble, right? Yeah, I think this cause you trouble is a very wide spectrum. Like, what type of trouble is it? Yeah. So there, I think we need to be more specific. But if it causes trouble to the extent that it would ruin the whole thing, and you know that it will cause damage to relationship with other people, then of course you can avoid it. And you can invite them to another, you can create just a separate party for them and contain them, inshallah. You have a question? No. You have a question, Habibi? Go ahead.
I saw stairs that is made of wood in every masjid I went, but sometimes they were not there. I don't know what that is, but when I was little, but not that little, I went up the stairs and it had a box like this,
Mm-hmm.
and the stairs were like this. I went inside and it had a cave, and I said it's okay. Then I went inside. I went up there to the top. I don't know what it is.
I don't know either.
Like they put stairs,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they put
Mm.
stairs, and there were
Yeah, yeah. Maybe you should draw it for me, inshallah, after this, bi'idhnillah. Okay, Habibi. Okay, so وَإِذَا مَرِضَ فَعُدْهُ. So if the person becomes ill or sick, then visit them. And again, it is only if there is a maslahah, if there's khair in visiting them. Now, some people actually belittling what it entails. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has said that whoever goes to visit a sick person, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala would let 70,000 angels go after him or behind him on his way to the sick person and seek istighfar for him until he comes back. Just imagine you're being followed by 70,000 angels. All of them are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive you until you finish that. What does that really mean to you? Wallahi, I would do it even if I would lose my job. 70,000 malak, angel, going behind you to just say, may Allah forgive him for what he's doing. Until you get back. And the sunnah when you do visit to the sick ones is that you go for a very light visit. So many of us, when we go, we start like discussions, and it goes like in a very long dialogue, and that is not the right thing, because usually the one who is sick needs some time to relax. And mashallah, in many Muslim communities, like maybe dozens of people will go and visit the person at the same time. And I'm sure you know that, you've seen this. Some hospitals, when they see someone who is Muslim being admitted in one of the rooms, they put a label, no more than 2 visitors at the same time, because they know, mashallah, Muslims care about each other. So that's one of the things that we need to also have into consideration. But I want you to be aware that visiting the sick one does not necessarily mean that you have to go physically there. It could be visiting them through a phone call, through a message, at least that you show that you care. Of course, the full reward is when you go in person, when you go physically, but that does not necessarily mean that you either do it this way or that you lose it. Last one is, وَإِذَا مَاتَ فَاتْبَعْهُ. And if the person dies or passes away, then follow their funeral. I think this is one of the issues that we have here. Not only in this Masjid al-Salam, but most of the places, is that the cemetery is too far. And for that session to go, it may consume maybe half of your day, right? That's how it happens. So many of the Muslims would do Salat al-Janaza, and they will excuse themselves. Do whatever you can. If all what you can is to follow that Janaza to a certain distance, that's good. Follow it all the way to the cemetery, that's great. Stay there until the deceased is buried fully, that's the best. And remember that when you do this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you the equivalence of 2 mountains of Uhud in reward. Anyone knows the size of mountain of Uhud? Anyone knows? It's about 7 kilometers. 7 kilometers and about 3 kilometers and 1 kilometer. So width, 7. The other side, well, the length is 7, I'm sorry. The width is about 3, and the height is 1 kilometer. They say, well, I forgot the number, but how many tons that they expect the mountain of Uhud weigh? Forgot the number. Please find it out. But just imagine this amount of reward multiplied by 2. When you pray janazah and follow that funeral until it is fully buried. Okay, now with that said, just think about them. First of all, saying salam and responding to their salam. If they invite you, that you answer them. If they seek your advice, that you sincerely give them your advice. If they sneeze, and they say Alhamdulillah, you say Yarhamukallah. If they are sick, you visit them. If they pass away, then you follow them. Those 6 are not the only rights of a believer. And I want to ask you a question. Can anyone remember another right that is not part of those 6? And you need to provide an evidence, either from Quran or from Sunnah. Anything? Okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, وَيُطْعِمُونَ الطَّعَامَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ مِسْكِينًا وَيَتِيمًا وَأَسِيرًا. The right of those needy people on us is for us to provide food for them. Right? So that's another right. It's not part of the 6th, right? If a person becomes needy, their right on us is to cooperate. It's a communal obligation that we work together to provide for them. Give me another example. Huh? Right of the neighbor. Allahu Akbar. Of course. Of course. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has said, Wallahi la yu'min man la ya'manu jaruhu bawa'iqah. That he is not a believer, the person who's their neighbor cannot have a peace of mind. In other words, if you are causing harm to the neighbor, if your neighbor is not having peace of mind being close to you, then you're not a true believer. So, to the extent, just listen to this. This is one of the unique things in fiqh. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has said that if you were to cook something that has a nice smell, you should take part of that and give it to your neighbor. That's why everyone loves to be next to a Muslim, especially if they have a good cook, mashallah. So that's a great example. Anything else? Rights to the parents. Well, yeah, obeying them, of course. There's the right of the husband, the right of the wife. There's one which is Nusrat al-Mazlum, that offering victory or supporting the ones who are being oppressed. This is the right of the believers. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said, "Unsur akhaka zaliman aw mazluman." Support your brother, whether he is oppressing or not oppressing, or being oppressed. They asked him, well, okay, we know how to support them when they are being oppressed, but how do we support them if they are the oppressors? He sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, by stopping them from committing the oppression. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that the 6 rights that Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has mentioned in this hadith constitute some specific rights that together can create a good community that really feels like a family with each another. And that actually, perhaps, wallahu alam, the reason that he ﷺ has put them together. But things like, for example, helping the oppressed ones, you probably in the whole community don't have any instance of that. Doing or feeding the needy, you probably may be living in a good neighborhood that you don't have even a needy. But those 6 are things that apply to everyone. And that's perhaps, wallahu alam, that they have been combined together in that one single hadith. Any question? Last question, inshallah, we have. Yeah, go ahead. We have to what? Loving others. Okay, well, the Rasul ﷺ has said, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. That a person will not be a true believer until he loves for his brothers what he loves for himself. Is that what you meant? Jazakallah khair. Okay, I'm sorry, I cannot stop. I cannot let this question go. Go ahead. Yes, Habib. Yes. Say it loudly, I cannot hear you. Or do you have to what? So if someone says, Alhamdulillah, you say, Yarhamukallah, and then he should say, Yahdikumullah wa yuslihu balakum. So your question is, can the person just say, Yahdikumullah without yuslihu balakum? Is that your question? Well, if you forget it, then yes, you can. But if you know it, you should say it. Because the Rasul ﷺ told us to say the exact phrase. Barakallah fiki. May Allah bless you. Okay, your sister, go ahead. You are her friend? Okay, go ahead. What's your question? So if a person forgets to say Bismillah before eating, and then during the food, he remembered it, he would say Bismillah awwalihi wa akhirihi, right? Yeah, it is okay if it were by accident, yes. بارك الله فيكم سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. يا تفضل يا شيخ.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة
حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله. استووا واعتدلوا. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم إن زلزلة الساعة شيء عظيم يوم ترونها تذهل كل مرضعة عما أرضعت وتضع كل ذات حمل حملها وترى الناس سكارى وما هم بسكارى ولكن عذاب الله شديد. ومن الناس من يجادل في الله بغير علم ويتبع كل شيطان مريد كتب عليه أنه من تولاه فأنه يضله ويهديه إلى عذاب السعير. يا أيها الناس إن كنتم في ريب من البعث فإنا خلقناكم من تراب ثم من نطفة ثم من علقة ثم من مضغة مخلقة وغير مخلقة لنبين لكم ونقر في الأرحام ما نشاء إلى أجل مسمى ثم نخرجكم طفلا ثم لتبلغوا أشدكم ومنكم من يتوفى ومنكم من يرد إلى أرذل العمر لكي لا يعلم من بعد علم شيئا وترى الأرض هامدة فإذا أنزلنا عليها الماء اهتزت وربت وأنبتت من كل زوج بهيج. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. ذلك بأن الله هو الحق وأنه يحيي الموتى وأنه على كل شيء قدير وأن الساعة آتية لا ريب فيها وأن الله يبعث من في القبور. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. استغفر الله استغفر الله استغفر الله. اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام، تباركت يا ذا الجلال والإكرام، لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله، لا إله إلا الله ولا نعبد إلا إياه. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If you give me 1 minute, it's not the 3 minutes khatira, it's just 1 minute that I want to share with you a fiqh ruling that is agreed upon by all scholars. The fiqh ruling says that if a person is capable of standing at the time of in the prayer, then that is mandatory. You cannot sit down during your prayer when you recite Fatiha and this, if you can afford a standing. If you cannot, then you have the excuse. But if you can and you just want to relax, then you cannot do that in the fard prayer. If you want to do the sunnah, it is permissible. But if you say someone is not feeling willing, is not willing to stand in the prayer for the sunnah, it is permissible to pray while sitting during the sunnah, even if you are capable of standing. However, you will get only half of the reward. If it is during the faridah, like Salat al-Isha, then you must stand if you can. Now, some people cannot, then they have the excuse. But there is something in the middle, where you can for a little bit, but then you have to sit down. And for that situation, you must do your takbirat al-ihram while standing, and then you sit down. This is all for madahib. There's no difference of opinion, because the Rasul ﷺ has made it mandatory that when you say takbirat al-ihram, the very first takbirah, you do it while standing, not while sitting. If this is in faridah, if you can. So three different positions. One is you can stand all the prayer, then you must stand. During Fatiha and the other one. The other one is you cannot, then you sit down. And the third one is you can, but for a little bit, then at least when you say Allahu Akbar for the first time, you need to be doing it while standing, and then you can sit down. Jazakumullah khair.